Hi, everyone. Welcome to the first Business in Calgary podcast. I'm your host, Oliver Basner. This is our co-host, my business partner, Tia Calloway, and we're with Sonic Coaching. And we've got a really special treat because instead of interviewing one person, we've actually got a couple of partners here for you today.
Fantastic. Well, we have with us today Stephanie Smith and Jenelle Erickson of SmithErickson Designs, and they are on the cover of the August edition of the Business in Calgary magazine. So definitely check out their interview. It's fantastic and some great information about them in there. So I read in the magazine that you guys met after working at Cardell Homes together, and you guys both went to school for completely different things rather than interior design.
Yeah.
So interesting how you guys ended up coming into your passion. So I just wanted to know, what was it that attracted you to interior design? Because as I understand, one of you was going to school to become a psychologist and the other one was going to school to become a teacher. So very different backgrounds before you decided to merge into the interior design world.
Yeah, so I think for myself at least, growing up, I thought I would be a teacher like my mom, and pursued that career a little bit, taking an early childhood education class at Mount Royal College. Felt that it wasn't for me, and I've always been quite the creative in the arts and enjoyed interior design, so decided to explore that a little bit more.
Fantastic. And then for you, going from a psychologist to interior design, that's a completely different industry.
Yeah, I feel like, when you graduate from high school, you are at that moment in life where you're kind of confused on what do I do. I did enjoy psychology, and I do still, actually, to this day. But it took me some time to actually just get that motivation to follow my passion and being in the industry in the sense of like meeting designers by working at like a home furnishing store. I realized that that's what I want to do. So I should go for it, and was encouraged by those around me to go ahead and do it. And when I did, it just came very easy in the sense of learning and design was very easy. It wasn't so textbook like to me. So I decided to roll with that. And then just, I think timing really worked to my advantage because the industry was very, was booming at the moment when I finished school. So I was able to get a job right away in the industry, and
Fantastic.
it was great.
Well, good for you because, it took me 40 years to figure out what I wanted to do when I grew up. So.
It takes a while sometimes.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. You get out of high school, there's the pressure, right? You pick a kind of a path, and then you go, well, wait a minute, that's not really what I'm passionate about. That's
Exactly.
not what I want to
Yeah.
do. So.
I remember my parents, they were great, and they had started a fund when I was young for my, university degree. And I think that's why I felt the urge to immediately go into it. And I just said, you can't let them down. Like, they've been saving this money over how many years?
Yeah.
And so, I wasn't really following my heart. It was more like what I thought others thought I should do.
I think that's the norm, people say like, oh, when you've done high school, you should go in and and you just don't know, right? You don't know yourself yet. You don't know really what your passions are yet because you've only been exposed to that pool through your high school.
Exactly.
What you think you might want to do, for
And
sure,
then
until you start doing
the real
it.
world, and then you say, oh, all these things exist that I didn't know I could have a passion about.
Yeah, I think originally I thought, maybe interior design couldn't be a career. It was just a passion and something that I was interested in, loved. But like Jenelle said, once you started pursuing it and going to school for it, it just clicked. And it was easy to explore that further and learn more about it because it just came naturally, I think, probably to both of us, where it didn't feel like you were going to school. You were pursuing something that you loved.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, there's a big milestone you're about to hit, which is 10 years in business. So congratulations. That's huge in business, right? We know the failure rate on businesses is significant.
Yeah.
And so to hit 10 years, I'm sure you're excited. And
Yes.
hopefully there'll be a celebration sometime.
You know what? That's something that we really need to get better at is celebrating.
Yeah.
We feel like we've been very, very fortunate, with what we've been doing and being recognized for our hard work. We're extremely grateful for, but we just keep going. So we did put on our business plan at the end of our fiscal year last year to think about next year being our 10-year anniversary, that we need to do something to celebrate that. So we need to recognize that.
Sometimes these wonderful accomplishments come up for us where, we might receive an award, or the first time we were in a magazine. These are all very exciting for us. But we just push forward and don't take the time to let those really resonate and sort of sink in and be like, hey, we really accomplished something amazing. And we should enjoy that with the people that are surrounding us and supporting us, because we've had a lot of support in our career.
Or being on the first podcast.
Being on the podcast. I'm so happy that we're going to have a celebration.
We're going to go for lunch.
We also, we know that you've got 4 team members now. So you've grown over the 10 years. You've got staff. So tell us a little bit, and our listeners, how that's changed. Like you've got leadership to deal with, and how's that transformed sort of your as a business owner, transformed you personally and your business, right? Providing leadership to the team, keeping them motivated, all the things that go with that.
It's a huge task.
And a learning process.
And there's only 4 of them. I can only imagine what would happen if there was more. We have a great team. The girls are extremely driven, and I would say easy to manage, but just naturally come with, the
managing people. And each has their own individual personalities and the way that they like to work and communicate. So it's figuring out how to tailor our leadership and our management style that works for us, but also for these wonderful ladies that work for us. It's a learning process for sure, but we wouldn't be here without our team. They certainly are a great support. And
I know, Jenelle, you had experience at Pier 1 that I read about, being in that management position and leadership position. So
Pier 1.
Yeah. Yes, the ones that are close to our hearts. So, that obviously, led this to be a little bit easier, of a transition to bringing in staff members. So for you making that adjustment, was it something that you thought back on and said, hey, I have these skills? Or did you look at it as a fresh, I need to really focus on this in the way that we want to go about it?
Good question. I would say I honestly didn't notice that what I had learned being a manager at Pier 1 was instilled in me to manage now. I would say, so again, super grateful for that experience. I also realized the managers that I had when I was at Pier 1, how much they influenced who I am and how I manage. I respected them so much. They always sort of treated me as an equal, per se, when I was just, an associate to one of their assistant managers.
Right.
So I really appreciate that. And that's something that I tried to remind myself of when I'm working with, say, the girls in the office, because I'm here to motivate. I'm not here to make you feel like you're, lower than me.
Right.
Yes. I always chuckle when the girls say, they introduce us, we're out, and they introduce us, and I say, that's my boss. Please don't. I'm like, where? That's so foreign. And then the best is when the person that they're introducing to, they're like, what? You're your boss? Yes, I know. So I just tried to, I think that just was ingrained in me, not something that I realized I was learning, but just when I sat down, I was trying to think of more like SmithErickson as the business and where do we want to go. I do remember, that's when I was like, it was really important to keep on track of sales and managing people and recognizing, their different personalities and their different, ways that they want to be managed. So that is, something that I, have noticed. And also too, I find when we worked at Cardell, it was a very independent structure there as designers. You had your own files. You were responsible on how you managed those files. All they gave you really was a deadline. And then the manager
and the tools to do it.
The manager would, follow up and be like, oh, you're late on this file. Why?
Right.
That's really all it was when you touch base with
So lots of autonomy then.
So
and I think we try to instill that in our employees as well, that they are very self-driven, because that's how we worked. So yeah, they're a great support for us.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Can we talk about, working with clients? One of the things I love is the question that you ask yourself when you're working with a client: would I spend money on this? I mean, that's brilliant as far as I'm concerned, because if every business that services clients asks that question, it really reframes your thought process. So tell us how that came about. Like, I'm really excited to hear about it.
Yeah. I think in interior design especially, it is a little bit, or can be perceived as, a luxury service. And there's so many products out there that could be very luxurious and expensive. So we want design to be attainable and approachable for our clients. So when we have so many options out there, and so many crazy options out there, we do want to reflect and think, is this something that we would propose to a client? Is this something I would want for myself, that I would feel comfortable purchasing and paying money for? If it's not, then we wouldn't suggest it.
Yeah, as I say, I that is such a fantastic question, and it really keeps it in perspective when you're working with the client, right? Is if I'm not willing to spend money, why would I ask a client to do the same thing, right? So, no, I really enjoy that.
I was, again, referencing the article, reading about how you guys really, you work very closely with your client. It's a very, cooperative approach. But for that initial design phase, you go away and you come back to the client with something, being able to take the lens that you have of being fresh and going in and seeing what they don't see. And obviously that opens their eyes to something, right? Because when we're too close to something, we tend to get, oh, I didn't even know that was possible, right?
Yeah.
And so being in business now for almost 10 years and being able to know that that's how you do this with your clients, have you guys used that as an approach to your business to, allow yourselves to take a step back and say, is there anything we're too close to here? Is there anything we need to be considering that, maybe we're too close to, we haven't seen yet?
Great question. Yeah. I strongly feel that's something that we're struggling with right now. And that is because we are used to being so hands-on. There's one thing to be said when you name your business and it has your name on it, right? It's not just like beautiful design. It's SmithErickson design. So 100%. We struggle with the, just with the concept of, when someone hires SmithErickson, they would hope for the Smith or the Erickson or both, right? So I think that is something that we probably need to do, is actually step back and look at the business as a whole, and not the close-up lens, like you said, and just look at it a bigger perspective on the sense of knowing where does this business go, or where do we see it going? Are we going to always be running the pavement? Because that can be exhausting. And then our fabulous team, we want them to take credit for their hard work too. So
it being that you lead with that autonomy, it's encouraged, right? This is something they did, not oh no, this is us.
We use we a lot in the office, so it's not I think this is the best, or I chose this, because we do work quite collaboratively as a team, but we really want it to be we as SmithErickson, including the team, not just the Smith and the Erickson.
Well, and I think to your point, I don't think you would find a business owner who says that they excel at that ability to step back and work on the business and not get caught up in the business, because your names are attached to it. So when it's the details, when it's somebody calling in sick or something needs to be done, as business owners, you're the one that jumps in. You're the one that makes sure it gets done. So it's definitely an honest struggle that I think everybody has. I know sometimes we find we I'd love to say we don't, but we do.
Well, we're passionate about our businesses too, right?
Oh, for sure.
It's natural to want to jump in, be involved and help, and but you realize as you grow, that's not scalable.
Yeah, for sure.
So tell us a little bit. I'd sure like our listeners to learn a little bit about, maybe, your early days. So what's something that you wish somebody would have told you when you got started, that maybe somebody out there right now is thinking about getting started and going, oh, I wish I'd have known that, right? What were those things, or what's that thing that sort of stands out for each of you?
It's a great question.
Take your time. I mean, it's one of those ones you've got to dig into the archives and sort of see what what is it I wish, we would have known or I would have known before we even got going?
I would almost say, don't be too much in your head. I don't, honestly, I feel like we had a really good approach when we first started.
Yeah.
In the sense that we weren't, we weren't running to the bank and taking out a huge loan.
Right.
We weren't hiring immediately, even though sometimes that does work for businesses, right? To take that leap and just hire the right people.
Yeah.
But we kind of gradually, got into it, and we never look at anything as a failure. It's a learning moment.
Right.
It's not a big deal. It's just water off your back.
Yeah.
But what could you do differently?
Yeah.
So you're not stuck in that rut again, or those sticky situations.
Yeah.
But it's not a failure.
No. Yeah.
Just keep going.
Yeah.
To say though, like something that we would have wished we
changed.
knew.
I don't know if I would have changed anything. I think the experiences that we've had have led us to where we are, and we've learned from them. And we're constantly trying to change processes and fine tune things to make it more successful in the way that we approach things. But yeah, I don't know if I would change anything. Maybe be more open to change. So, sometimes you do just get in the day-to-day or in doing something a certain way. So for myself, maybe just, being a little bit more open to exploring other ways of doing something.
I think consistency is key too, being a small business, because I think you just think that because you're a small business, you could just be a lot more flexible on how you handle situations. But if you could be consistent, I'd be like, no, this is our steps that we're going to follow, no matter what. You'll see a reward from that. And that's something too that I feel like is beneficial when you start having a team. They really rely on those procedures, I've noticed, even if you're a small business. And I think about myself too when I worked at a small business. One of the things that did not motivate me was how I felt everything was so unorganized in a sense. And when you're new and you're coming into it, you're like, I don't know what's up and what's down.
What do I do in this situation? If you have that procedure in place, which is something that I think in the past year or two, we've really started to focus on, and has really helped us and our team.
It's that autonomy piece needs to come with those guidelines, right? So here's your autonomy, but here's those lines that exist, and your employees need those to function properly, right? They need to understand what those final guidelines are, and that they have the room within it to make their own decisions, right? But it's hard for somebody to function if you tell them, well, do whatever you want. Right? That's a pretty broad statement for somebody when they're asking you what color they should use. Right?
So they feel like there is almost immediate failure too, because they're not able to recognize what the end goal is in a sense. It's like, I checked off all the boxes, so I did a good job. They can recognize what they did. Absolutely. But when, there's no list of to-dos or steps to take, they're just scrambling and they don't feel like they've achieved much.
Yeah, and there's no encouragement for them to take that initiative and to do things on their own if they don't feel like what they do is going to make a difference no matter what.
I really liked how you said, Jenelle, that you take time to change and tweak the processes as well, right? So the two of you are always looking to evolve, and because really, I mean, I've always said the difference between a small business and a large business is the strength of their processes, right? They have to be more buttoned down when you've got 100 employees versus 4. Obviously, you can't manage everybody. So, do the two of you ever take any time to sort of take that breath away from the business and focus on the business? Do you ever, as partners, do you spend that time together?
Yeah, so we have started doing monthly, what we call business meetings, where it is just Jenelle and myself to talk about, some more of the day-to-day items, but also some broader picture and goals as well.
Yeah, I feel like that was really important. So it was something that we weren't doing, believe it or not. Because I think we just thought it would just happen naturally. If we needed to talk about something, we would just go knock on each other's office door. But it wasn't. No. It wasn't happening. There was a sort of a disjointed miscommunication there, just because we are so busy and we were working away, it was just sort of a light bulb went off, And it's like, you know what, the key is to actually communicating with each other as business owners.
Yeah.
It's like any relationship, right? Yeah. So we started implementing that in the last year, and I feel like it is good because we just sit there. We usually meet outside of the office because our walls are paper thin.
We're whispering in the office.
We've done a boardroom to get work.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, even stepping out of the office, if the walls weren't paper thin, I think is nice too, because you step away, you have a coffee, it's a little bit more relaxed, and it is, you know, conducive to sharing ideas and sharing maybe our personal struggles or things that are successes as well.
Yeah, it's so true. Tia and I had 6 hours yesterday because we had to go to Edmonton to train one of our new employees. And so we had 3 hours up, 3 hours down. I don't know if we solved all of our problems, but man, we talked a lot. And we got through a lot of things that, you know, how are we approaching this and what are we doing here? And so having that away time, critical for business owners.
Yeah,
it is good.
There's an idea. We go to Canada.
Yeah, we'll do a little drive. Let's drive in the country.
And the view is nice, right?
There's something about a car chat, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was just about to say, there's something about being in a car and just being able to have a conversation, and it seems more relaxed. And I mean, I have teenagers, so sometimes I feel like that's the only way you can get them to talk to you. Is just
That's true.
go for a little drive.
We used to drive a lot together because we would drive out to client meetings or whatever it was. But now we are, you know, leading projects separately or somewhat separately, where, we're not spending as much time, especially in the car together. So even on the drive over here, it's just nice to have a chat, catch up on life.
Sure.
Doesn't always have to be business, but, you know, really we were friends first. So ensuring that we maintain that friendship as well.
Awesome.
So in terms of personal development, you know, we know, especially as business owners, that our personal development and professional development are one and the same. Are there any books or podcasts or audios that you guys feel like were crucial to some of your development pieces, or something that you listen to now or read now to help you through that process?
I do listen to multiple podcasts. I was really into it was her name's Luann. She's out of the States, and she's not a designer herself. She actually has a really successful blinds company.
Oh, okay.
But she speaks to designers.
Right.
And that I found very motivating, especially when we were first starting, just hearing other designers' experience and how they handle certain situations. Really a lot just highlighted, like, we're all in the same boat. We have similar situations. You hear these designers that you admire, and they also get the not so easy clients, you know? And you're like, oh, I know. I find motivational speakers as well. Like, I really do enjoy going to see that. You know, the Michelle Obamas, the Obamas, you know, or like-minded ones that sort of come to Calgary. But
I am really curious. I've been dying to ask you this question. So SmithErickson has got something new launching called Curated by SmithErickson. Please tell us about it.
We're very excited about Curated. It's our little brainchild that has been in the works for a while now, but we're really wanting to push forward and have a larger launch.
Yeah, we started it off just small. We've noticed that we usually gravitate to similar products. We thought, why don't we just have that under our own little umbrella? So there's an umbrella, so we named it Curated. So it's items that we would source for our clients, and then just making it accessible to everyone out there. And then we were excited that we were approached by Hudson Bay to have Curated by SmithErickson in all of their department stores across North America and online. And that grew into furniture, bedding, bath. Is that it? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
I think that is. It was pretty
fantastic. So that was a really exciting collaboration on the Curated brand itself. Yeah, it's a lot of accessories, some textiles as well, looking to expand more into furniture. So we're really excited about that. Mostly e-commerce, but of course it's available to our clients as well. But pieces that we have curated.
And how do our listeners find those? If it's not at the Bay, where would they find it?
So on our website,
Okay.
SmithEricksonDesigns.com.
Nice.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and right now we're in the progress of sort of changing it up from what we had previously. We were thinking of just doing a soft launch in the fall. And then, just like Steph alluded to, we really want to focus on it a lot more. So hopefully maybe in 2025, we'd have a lumber product online for those who want to explore and shop.
Yeah.
So exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's fantastic. Great
To
idea.
partner with the Bay, that's one of those milestones you need to celebrate.
Yeah, that was a pinch me moment, for sure. Very surreal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have a glass of champagne.
We should
That's great. So just as we sort of get close to wrapping things up, is there sort of anything that comes to mind that you haven't had a chance to share about the business?
Yeah. You got some good stumpers.
I give you time to think, though, right? So,
I haven't had to share about the business. Yeah, I think I'm really excited for the curated. Obviously, continuing with our boutique interior design studio. What else am I excited
we're
about?
working on a few more collaborations. Potentially around the corner, so we're super excited about those.
Fantastic.
Won't say anything yet because it's just
Stay tuned.
Yeah,
it's only the four of us. Nobody.
No, we won't tell anyone.
so hopefully more of that because it's only just more ways of getting art and design out there, really. And then of course the benefit of having SmithErickson's name on it is pretty cool. But
And something our listeners might not know is you don't just do residential. Like you will actually go into commercial spaces as well.
Yeah. When we do commercial, we can say it's a bit more boutique style.
Yeah.
Light commercial.
Yeah, we've done an optometrist office, a couple little restaurant type spaces, and those are fun. They're a little bit different than residential, of course.
Yeah.
So it's nice to use a different side of your brain for those.
Different creative lens.
We were part of the Saddle Dome.
Yes. Yeah, we have a couple spaces in the Saddle Dome, which was very exciting. And who knows?
It was the first.
So the first Amazon marketplace in Canada. So they have some across the States where you just go in, take your item and leave.
Feels like stealing, doesn't it?
It does.
You don't even have to go through a cash register.
Yeah.
It just bills it to your account.
But it works
somewhere.
really well. So we were really excited to be a part of that.
That's fantastic.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing some knowledge and wisdom with our listeners. And for those of you listening out there, so this is the first one. So we've got lots of them coming and make sure you listen in to the Business in Calgary podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.